approach the South Shore Cultural Center, I want everyone to look to their right, which is to the east. And what you're coming upon is the offices of Alderman Sandy Jackson, who is the wife of Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., whose offices are here also. And this building is a classic example of what's called a flat iron building. Does anyone know why it's called a flat iron building? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. So the reason why the building to the right is called a flat iron building is because it's shaped like an iron. A lot of those buildings ended up being designed that way because they were being built right after the railroad tracks were being built. So they kind of had to fit into whatever space they could after the railroad tracks were being built. And so you know you're going right into the South Shore Culture Center here? Okay. And then guys, what we're gonna do is when we get to the South Shore, you guys are gonna get out for like 10 minutes. You're gonna walk around and then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on inside of there, and then we'll get back on the bus.
Are we going to the Cultural Center?
We're going to the South Shore Culture Center right now. And this is what this is what Harry English was telling you guys about before. It's kind of the fight and the push to really preserve and save that cultural center.
That was a country club?
Uh-huh. South Shore Culture Center was called the South Shore Country Club. Once again, as Dr. English or as Mr. English was saying, it was, you know, African Americans and Jewish people were not allowed to enter the club when it was built in 1898. So just as we're approaching this thing, let me start talking and you guys just look straight forward. So the building was originally designed as a private club called the South Shore Country Club by the architectural firm of Marshall and Fox. The architects are renowned for their hotel and apartment building designs throughout Chicago land area. Marshall and Fox are best known for their design of the Drake Hotel and the Blackstone Hotels, which are in downtown Chicago. There was a building that preceded this one, built in 1906, designed by Marshall and Fox. But the original structure, the only remaining portion of the building, is now the Robinson Theater, which is on the south end of the existing building. In 1916, after expansion of membership and social importance in Chicago, Marshall and Fox were hired again to design a new clubhouse in 1916. That's what you see now. For decades, the South Shore Cultural Club was a playground for Chicago's rich. However, throughout the club's history, they refused to admit Jews or African Americans, both of which represented a significant portion of the population in South Shore at that time. In 1960s, the club membership declined and the building fell into disrepair. And then that's what Mr. English was telling you guys about, that story about how to save it and the starting of the jazz teams and things like that. In 1974, the Chicago Park District purchased the club for $10 million. And now, currently, the South Shore Country Club is managed and owned by the Chicago Park District. And just some significant facts for you guys to remember. Barack and Michelle Obama had their wedding reception inside of this building. It does weddings, it does receptions, and then I guess we need to find a place. I think you can pull up right in front here, and we can let the kids out.